Hello my beautiful people, welcome to your weekly general tarot scope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. So these are the general energies, trends and themes that we're likely to all be experiencing over the course of the week. These are community developed. This came about because of everything that you guys were asking for and the trends that we were noticing in the weekly videos. So what happens here is every week I will go into my intuition and I ask for a message. Sometimes it'll be a word, a feeling, a thought, an impression. Sometimes it will be like a full-on movie in my mind that plays out, and usually the whole reading is kind of informed by this intuitive message, and they are intuitively led. So with that said, before we start, as always, I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So sometimes these will be microcosmic messages for us on the ground. Sometimes it will be macrocosmic messages that we will see play out on the wider world stage. Also worth mentioning, if you haven't seen them yet, your September 2022 tarot readings are up there and out there for your viewing pleasure. Yes, I know I got them out super early this month, just because there's a lot going on behind the scenes as always. All right, so this week, the intuitive messages, it was twofold. So the first thing that I saw was literally, the second message was actually the first thing that I saw. And this was a river and it was running, and then every so often it would get stagnant. It would like stop flowing and then it got stagnant. And that's why the message is rivers must run to stay fresh. All right. So the message for that, whoever it is that needs to hear this, your message is whatever you are doing, you need to keep it moving. If you feel things are starting to stall, if you feel like things are getting a bit stagnant, or they're not starting to move, or they're not moving the way that you would like them to, or you're feeling a little bit stuck, you need to bring a dynamic energy in this week in order to get things moving. This is kind of like the jump start of your car when the battery is flat, right? You need something to give it that jolt of energy. And so if things aren't moving or they're feeling a bit stagnant for you at the moment, you need to take some form of action in order to get that momentum back. If things feel like they're slowing down, yes, you know, we've obviously now got planetary retrogrades are going to start to kick in over the course of the next month. But even still, you've got to find a way to keep it moving. So when it comes to ideas, when it comes to business partnerships, when it comes to connections, collaborations, you need to find a way to keep it fresh from this week onwards. And the second message that I got was, it's time to distill your knowledge. What do I mean by this? This is about extracting the exquisite depth and pure essence of whatever it is that you know, whatever it is that you do. So as an example, let's say you are like me, you're a tarot reader. This is the time for you to condense and distill your knowledge. You've got to extract all of the secrets that you've gained over the years of doing your practice. If you're an astrologer, doing the same thing. This is a time to condense things down so that you can pull the purest essence of information and start to consolidate that. Now, here's the really interesting thing. When that message came through, what I actually saw was, you know, like the chemist set up, and it was like there were all these distillations happening, and I was like, okay, cool. But the feeling that I get from this is, and there was nothing else that came through with that. And that's, you know, I've got the words, it's time to distill your knowledge, but I have this exquisite intuitive feeling that those secrets that you've gained through your practice, whatever it might be about fishing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could be from fishing right through to stage acting and everything in between. It could be astrology, tarot, numerology, whatever it is. This is a time to condense what knowledge you have down into the core principles, into the true essence of whatever it is that you do, or whatever your knowledge base happens to be. And the feeling that I get from this is those secrets, that knowledge is going to become really important for you over the course of the next 3 to 4 months. Okay, so this is a really important week for some reason. Those are the messages that I got. Okay, so for our destiny card, the overarching energy, trend or theme, and we've got a jumper. Of course we do. Of course it is. The lady has spoken. We have the High Priestess. All right, so the card actually on there in this deck, it's by Ciro Marchetti. The only message that's written on any of the cards is literally darkness into darkness, the key to all mysteries. What I find really interesting about this coming up as the Destiny card. Yeah, all the usual meanings kind of hold true. Intuition and thoughts, impressions, dreams, psychic awareness, abilities, dreamscape, all of that stuff stands, as well as hidden things revealed, all right? Or maybe the discovery of new secrets once you start to distill the knowledge that you already have. Once you start to do that, you go through levels of things, and then certain practices will start to reveal new knowledge or new wisdom to you. And the High Priestess doesn't communicate with words. It's with thoughts, with feelings, with impressions, with psychic energies, with metaphors and allegories. And what's that other word that I'm looking for? Soliloquies. Isn't that just such a gorgeous word? Like the way that it rolls in your mouth. Soliloquy. Oh, so beautiful. I'm such a geek, but whatever. The reason I find this funny is because one thing that a lot of readers actually don't talk about with the High Priestess is her purity. She is intact. When you look back through a lot of the old texts, the thing that is evident about the High Priestess is that she's intact, or as Reydiant called her, Virgo intacta, right? And this always, look, I got, oh, look. And what this means is, this is about the purity. It's about taking something or everything that you're doing back to basics, stripping out all of the impurities and literally condensing it down to the purest of messages, right? And when we think about our intuition, those are the purest of messages because they're undiluted. And you know, this is where discernment comes in, knowing what is your intuition, what's your programming, your trauma, your etc. But your pure intuition, nothing can nothing can interfere with that, because it's direct inside. It comes between you, your subconscious, your intuitive, mammalian abilities, and the universe. It's direct in tune communication, all right, or intuition, inward teaching. So really, really interesting. I think a lot of us, in whatever practices we do, we're going to be gaining new knowledge or new secrets this week that we probably wouldn't have been able to gain anywhere else. So I'm intrigued. Now, on the wider world stage, I wouldn't be surprised if there are some hidden things revealed or secrets that come to light this week. We've already had a bout of this stuff. We had a bout of it last week. One of my students and friends, Cindy, posted something on her Instagram about one of I think it was about one of the saints, and she said, I'll be interested to see what comes out on the news on this day. And woe and behold, we had like a moment, and I can't remember exactly what it was off the top of my head, but it was really interesting. So to see this, I'm intrigued. All right, for your direction, energies, the energies, trends and themes, how do we best tap into or utilize the High Priestess energy? We've got the Strength card, right? So through deep inward courage, we find whatever it is that we need to know, and also we find the courage to face the truth of something as it is, undiluted and unfiltered. We've got the Emperor card. Okay, so there's definitely going to be a might makes right energy that kind of shows up this week, and I kind of get the feeling that this is going to be another one of the smoke screens that we see on the wider world stage, where we're, the agendas, or the agenda creators, let's say, are trying to get us to believe a certain story or narrative, but we're not buying into it. And then we have the Nine of Swords. I wouldn't be surprised if this week we hear some sort of uproar about someone either being released, or we're wanting, we the people, let's say, are wanting, or wanting to see or calling for somebody's release. I wouldn't be surprised if this was somebody's sentence that we feel is either unfair. So this could be somebody that's going to prison, somebody that's been going through a trial. I wonder if this has something to do with the whole Maxwell thing. It would be interesting to see how this plays out, on the wider world stage. Now, on a personal level, that Nine of Swords, and it's really interesting because this, first of all, that's a lot of fire. The Strength card is Leo ruled, the Emperor is Aries ruled. But then we've got this Nine of Swords here, right? And in this specific deck, the Nine of Swords actually represent, so yes, it's the usual meanings, obviously, because it is the Nine of Swords. They are relatively universal. But in this deck specifically, the Nine of Swords is actually about finding what it is that's going to free you up. So the hands are bound, but the message is, how do you use the swords in order to release your shackles or your chains? So I wonder if this is somebody that's getting pardoned for something that they, you know, it's now discovered that they didn't do after a really long sentence. I wonder if this is also somebody that is on the opposite side of it, not getting the kind of sentence that we feel that they should. Going back to this personal sort of stance of things, I think this is a lot of people gaining clarity on the sovereignty that they want to own for themselves. I actually feel like this week, we're probably going to see a break from, you know, I think a lot of people that maybe have bought into a lot of the bigger narratives are going to start to really question that. I don't know why, I just get the feeling that this week there's going to be a schism of some sort, and it's going to get wide. All right, for our insight cards, what's coming in that we might need to be aware of or to know? We have the World card. Okay, so with the High Priestess, this is really where in the world do you feel called to, and who in the world do you feel like are actually your people? We've got the Ten of Pentacles. All right, so this looks good for financial easing. And then we've got the Two of Cups. So the energies that are coming in this week, and I finally got the dates right. Last week, many of you noticed I'd written the dates up wrong. I was way too excited and ahead of my time, as is usually the case. So we've got the World card, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Two of Cups. This week, I think we're going to see and hear a lot more about the communities that are popping up all over the place. I think this might be a really good week for finances, resources, and money. In all fairness as well, I think there's going to be a lot of solutions that come out of this week, all right? Maybe not necessarily they're going to fix everything, but these are certainly going to be things that highlight the possibilities for things improving, or you're finding the way through. It's through connections with other people. The World card being communities, the Two of Cups being partnerships, connections, collaborations. With the Ten of Pentacles, if you want to make money this week or moving forward, you need to find ways to start to collaborate with other people. As the old African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. And this week feels to me like there's going to be a lot of connections, partnerships, collaborations, and potentially communities that are being forged. And these communities are going to be a sort of counterculture to whatever the wider world stage is presenting. You know, usually in times like this, in times of high crisis or challenge or issues, we get countercultures that start to arise or start to be born. And I feel like this is one of those weeks. So remember this week, plan accordingly, adjust accordingly, because I think it's going to be an important one that we remember for a while to come. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.